insanely overpowered weapons that you can find in the first 2 hours. And yes, you can use them until the very end. I'm close to the last 2 bosses, and I'm using the exact weapon that I've built roughly 20 hours ago in the very beginning. Plus, a bonus at the end, where you can find your first Legion pluck early to craft whatever new Legion arm you want. The first one would be the electric coil stick handle. That is a C scaling on motivity, D technique, and B on advance. Mostly the head art is absolutely insane. Greatly increases electric blitz attack temporarily. Where do you get it? As soon as you get inside the house on Elysian Boulevard. That's the stargazer on the top of the roofs that you can't miss. There's a vendor in there that actually sells you that thing early. So if you go for triangle and activate your Fable art, you essentially get electricity attack on top greatly to just overwhelm any kind of bot. And that's so damn good. The range is quite good due to the handle, and you're having side sweeping motions with light attacks, and the charge attack would be a side swipe with a decent range. Your charge attack out of run is actually an overhead hit with an incredible range, making the handle very nice. But the important part on this weapon is not the handle, it's actually the head of the weapon. Which brings you to our next weapon, the Krat Police Officer's Baton. Has short range in the beginning, but extreme fast attack speed, and especially the weapon art is hitting overhead. Plus the charge being also a run up with a push. And then if you follow up, you straight up do an overhead. The police officer's baton you can't actually miss because you'll go past there for your story, but you don't actually have to kill this watchman. So you might have ran past him because in the very beginning, they can be quite annoying to beat. They start as a boss and now they're a normal opponent. They'll get only more annoying throughout the game. Now, that is quite short range, and especially the Fable art is nothing really special. That being said, if you actually activate the handle, temporarily increases your attack for the next hit. So right now you would do what? That is 300 damage, and then you can activate this with 1 Fable slot only to straight up do double the damage of what I did before. That goes for an overhead hit, which would do 666. And that's 1,400. So you essentially double the damage of what you have going on with whatever blade you get going on. Now with these two, you can already create an absolute monstrosity in the beginning because you're going to be taking the electric coil head followed up with a police officer's baton handle. Now the good thing is that the baton can be made to have only a motivity scaling. So if you go for alter handle, you can see the usual scaling is B and D tier, but I actually brought it up to an A tier motivity scaling. Now you have the choice to enhance your lightning and on top also enhance the next attack. So you do an absolute overhead lightning super smasher while you still keep obviously your lightning damage up. The best part now is instead of having these long winded swings, you have the police officer's baton super fast hitting, and you also have the overhead clapper. If you charge a puppet, you can straight up hit them in the face and then with 2 hits completely obliterate them. Plus, this gives you quite some range. This hit versus bosses works out tremendously well, especially against the Scrap Watchman. No worries, that's not all. If you didn't like the range of that, I get something truly incredible for you. And that would be the Booster Glaive blade, which throws itself forward. This is amazing for the handle and the blade, but separate each. Where do you get this? As soon as you enter the Venini factory, you can just turn to the left to defeat this mini boss. Or don't even defeat him, just run past him, open the box and get your blade out of that to actually use that blade also against the mini boss. He's incredibly easy to do, pretty much free quartz for you, but the weapon is so good and still the blade aiding me now in the end game. I'll show you the combinations. First, with the whole booster glaive, you get this left hit, right hit, but it's a wee bit sluggish, and the overhead hit is a charge forward due to the glaive blade having this booster on it. And if you run and hit, you also go fastly forward. That's great to bridge quite a gap, especially if you just want to hit a big hit.
You're here.
What I've been doing is I took both parts to a different weapon. First, you can take the coil head and actually the booster glaive handle. That makes it a bit slower, so not taking that much care of the electricity, but it takes care of any range. So you can electricity this up, and then if you want to hit, bam, right? You just go forward like there's no tomorrow. And still 1 swipe, 2 swipe, 3 swipe with the fast attacks, dealing electricity damage. Run forward, boom, electricity damage. Works super good. And then if you press L1 and let it charge fully up, you can do quite a weapon art together with your charged up electricity blade. Charged up, and all of these, every hit does electricity damage bonus as well. The true weapon I'm using though is the booster glaive blade paired together with the Krat police officer's Baton grip that we were talking about before. And you can see I have both at +10 at this point because, well, this is what I'm using to beat the bosses. So you get a nice little blade with a good fable art that catapults you forward. And this is very nice to bridge a gap, especially if a boss is jumping back. And then you just follow up on him, swipe, swipe. Does very good stagger damage. You can also boost your next attack damage and then do your fabled art to do even more incredible damage. But that's not really what you want. You want this super fast attacking from the police officer's baton. You notice how it's just the chop that the baton was doing, but this time enhanced with the length of this blade. Perfection. That together with the overhead chop and the running chop truly creates a menacing weapon to take bosses down left and right. That's a little tip with a booster glaive. In general, it works extremely well to enhance the range of short heads. In the Vanini factory, at the end of a corridor where flaming puppet death balls are being thrown at you, if you push to the very end where they actually fall down, there's a chest with a fire axe blade head in it. Pair that together with the booster glaive handle, and you can essentially make up for that super short range with quick forward dashes. Now for the Legion plug, and let me keep this spoiler free as possible. If you made it into the cathedral, you're ending up in this bell watchtower. You have no choice, you'll end up in there anyways, and you gotta make your way all the way up. It's gonna be quite tedious and annoying, but as soon as you made your way up, you're gonna turn to the right, and there's a lever to activate a shortcut where suddenly these platforms are going to go from bottom to top. That's not that important thing. You're going to drop down a few platforms to go for this respective chest there, hidden with 2 monsters. That will give you the Legion plug, so very early in the first 3 hours of the game, you can already craft yourself any Legion arm that you want. Highly recommend to go for the fire though. It will aid you throughout the battles very nicely, and it's super good. Ladies and gentlemen, what are some of the favorite weapons that you are using right now that give you the best feeling, vibes, joy, clapping? We'll definitely do another playthrough where I only use advanced technique magic weapons, kind of, because there's quite some amazing ones, especially when it comes down to the boss weapons. Now, if you're looking for the way to allocate your stats and P organs, that video is what you want to click.